See what we're going to do, attach this butt kicker to this peg on the MD500, and then we're going to get an incredible vibration experience. I'm really looking forward to that. Wait. That's not how this works. I think I got this wrong. I think you're supposed to attach this thing to your chair so that this thing is replicated in your chair. I got this all wrong. All right, let me head back to the shop.
Well, my fellow rotorheads, I apologize for my absence as of late. I spent the last few weeks on a tour de force of Mr. D's star cycle. I've seen the thing up close and personal, inside and out, felt its heartbeat, and will be sharing the things I've learned in the days to come. But for this video, I'm rather excited to report that even if you can't come out to Lone Oak, Texas to fly the real thing, at least in part, you can bring that experience home to you with this amazing gadget, the Buttkicker. I've not seen any in-depth review of this thing in relation to helicopter simulation, so this will be that review. As you've probably figured out by now, this channel has undertaken the pursuit of realism in the helicopter simulation space. In the spectrum of contributors to realism, my estimate is that simulating the feel and control of the aircraft is maybe 30% of the total experience of the real thing. The other elements being acute spatial awareness of flight hazards, regulatory compliance, communications, maintenance, taxes, the smell of fuel and bearing grease, the fear of death, and on, or what I call the big sad, focusing on and within the 30%, because who would want to simulate filing FAA annual inspection reports? I would rate vibration to contribute about 15 to 20% of that segment of realism, about on par with the full-access motion rig. There is the issue of diminishing returns also. You can spend a lot of money chasing every detail to get as close as possible, and some things cost more than others. There's a bang for the buck aspect. Or perhaps more accurately, a dollar per realism metric. At $400 MSRP and a roughly 17% realism contribution, a Buttkicker may be the least expensive way on a cost per unit of realism basis to add substantial immersion value to your setup. So is it worth it? I would say definitely yes. After all, vibration is inescapable in helicopters. I think the contribution is enhanced with VR. That is, it helps to believe you're in the cockpit and not have distractions undermine the illusion. It still buys a lot with flat screens, but man, you're really there in VR. The key word is immersion. I've heard people talk about immersion, but honestly, I've never really felt that before now, even with VR. I'd fly around in the sim and think, yeah, this is fun, but I'm not forgetting that I'm flying a simulator. I'm not lost in it. But now feeling the engagement of the starter, the turbine kicking in, the rotor spooling up, the airframe shuddering awake and vibrating with hovering power, how it feels different in a high G turn, the disruption when exceeding VNE or flirting with VRS. I have to admit, I can get lost in it now. In contrast to what I've seen other reviewers say, less is definitely not more. More is more. As you can see from my SimHub file, I have lots of effects for different aspects, and they all blend together in just the right way to inform the different aspects of my flight. It can even help improve your flying skills. It can be made to feel different based on vertical speed, or as Mr. D often complains as I drift off level, can't you feel that? Well, I'm training myself to do just that by incorporating vertical speed sensitivity into the vibration, at least until I have a proper motion rig with whatever it can contribute to the cause. You can feel VRS coming in now and take appropriate corrective measures. What a godsend. The odd aspect of this sensation is not how much it adds, but how weird it feels to not have it after you've gotten used to it. It would be like if you were driving your car and suddenly you stop feeling any vibration, no road texture, no bumps, no engine rumble, just icy smooth like you were sliding on smooth ice with the engine off. That would be weird and disorienting. That's how it feels now when I fly and forget to turn on the vibration. There are alternatives to the Buttkicker. There's the HF8 seat, and you can build yourself a do-it-yourself vibration rig for less. I haven't tried them, so can't speak to them directly. I like the Buttkicker because it's strong enough to vibrate my whole chair, which is what my collective and cyclic joystick are connected to. The whole thing vibrates, which is exactly what the real thing feels like. A vibrating pad will leave out the collective. And from what I've seen, do-it-yourself rigs are much lower in power than the Buttkicker. It's not so much that you want to be shaken to death, but that the transducer's output is not even across its working range. Some frequencies are stronger than others. The very, very low frequencies, for example, are pretty weak, as well as the very high ones. The way to get around that is to have the power to turn the Buttkicker up high to get those very low frequencies to be felt, and then in your programming turn the louder frequencies down. I'll explain more about that in a bit, but if you don't have enough power to turn the low frequencies up, you won't feel the low rotor resonance, or VRS, or the landing bump, or things of that nature as effectively. Believe me, when I feel a Huey touching down now, I feel it. One of the things I worried about when I attached the transducer to my chair post is annoying my neighbors. I even bought some isolation pads to suspend my chair on to help minimize transmitting through to the floor. But I had a thought. I was vibrating the stem of the chair up and down, which itself is necessarily limited. After all, I'm trying to vibrate the piece that connects my fat ass to the floor, both largely immovable forces. The Buttkicker was working at disadvantage, so I thought, what if I mounted the transducer sideways to the back of the chair? I did have to design and build a bracket to be able to do that, but now the force is sideways as opposed to up and down. That has a number of benefits. The first is, I'm no longer pounding the floor as the force is going side to side, not up and down. So even when I have it turned up loud and in my head I can feel like a really rough, loud ride, when I get up off the chair I hear and feel nothing. It's kind of startling. Second, the force can be so much larger and more nuanced because it's not being constrained between two large masses. It's freer to operate, so it can transmit more nuanced vibrational information. And third, I think it's probably more accurate as a general feeling. After all, the helicopter rotor vibration is not going up and down as much as it is side to side, exactly as I have it mounted. If you've mounted your Buttkicker in its more typical configuration and use it for other aspects like racing or whatever, I don't think it's critical to mount it sideways. I'm just pointing out that there are advantages to the way I have it. So how do you operate this thing? Interestingly, there's lots of ways to connect a sim to this thing with a variety of available apps. Buttkicker comes with its own software. There are also third-party providers like SimHaptic and SimShaker and Sim Racing Studio and who knows what else. In the end, I chose SimHub for its flexibility, versatility, and configurability. Also, it's free. The others had various limitations that didn't appeal to me, and I won't go into them here because that's extensive enough to be its own topic. What I can say is that as we've all gotten used to, rotorcraft is the ignored contingent of the sim space, and vibration is no exception. None of the apps devote much attention to the specifics of helicopters, which is really sad to me because it really is a very rich and nuanced area. But what SimHub does do is provide a programming environment that allows you to create wonderfully complex, nuanced, and in-depth vibration simulation, limited by your creativity and passion to pursue it. They do have some built-in features like touchdown and engine rumble. I had to learn JavaScript to tease out everything I wanted out of it, but the capacity is there to be as simple or complex about it as you like. And I pulled out all the stops because I didn't have any showstoppers blocking me. Based on my memory and understanding of various helicopters, I've created a number of vibration files, or vibrafiles, as I'm calling them from here on out. Each one is different because, the Cabri feels nothing like the Huey. We all love the Huey, and we all know what it sounds like. But my fellow rotorheads, can you say you know what the wop 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 feels like? Once you do, you'll never want to fly without it again. Imagine conducting your DCS Huey ops with that resonating vibration shaking your butt. Why do you think they call it Buttkicker? What a rush. I want you to experience this for yourself. I'm making a number of my vibrafiles available for free on flightsim.to and on my new website. I have the Bell 407, the Cabri, and the DCS OH6 there now. Links in the description below. Moreover, I intend to create actual, accurate representation of how a helicopter vibrates, and I've already done that with Mr. D's star cycle. I recorded its vibrations throughout an entire flight, from startup to shutdown. I spent weeks analyzing the data, relating it to various stages in its flight, transforming and transcoding the data, writing code, testing the code, simplifying the code, debugging the code, and confirming that the code does in fact generate the same types of frequencies as the real thing, directed at your rig. It's over 100 kilobytes of code to describe in vibrational detail exactly how Mr. D's star cycle feels. Proceeds from selling that file will fund the accurate conversion of other helicopter models like the 407, the Huey, the 125, the 130, the 206, and so on. And you can buy the authentically translated MD500 file on simmarket.com right now, link in the description below. And let me and others know what you think. Perhaps it will encourage others to indulge this quirky, underrated enhancement device and improve their overall simulation immersion experience. So full disclosure, I paid full price for this thing, and I do highly recommend it. After recording this video, I reached out to Buttkicker and asked them if they'd like to offer a discount to my community of followers, and they sent an affiliate link instead. So, if you want to pick one up, they're currently on sale. You can go directly to Buttkicker, or if you want to support the channel and help fund the transcription of the vibration of different helicopter models, you can use my affiliate link, which will provide a small kickback to fund that process. Either way, I suggest you get one of these because it is probably the cheapest way to massively increase your simulation immersion experience. I'm grateful to have as much exposure to the real thing as I do. It's a completely unearned privilege that I will always remember and treasure. And though I will probably never be a pilot or own a helicopter, that doesn't mean I can't make my home experience as close to the real thing as reasonably possible. That's become the whole point of this channel. I wish all of you success in that same pursuit. And until next time, truly may the feeling of that rotor wash over you.
Huh? Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy.